In Iowa tonight, the gloves are off with just over a week to go before the presidential caucuses.
And the attacks are Democrat versus Democrat and Republican blasting Republican, with so much at stake in the volatile political environment of 2016.
KCAL 9 political reporter Bryan joins us now with the latest on those fiery attacks being launched tonight, including one that involved a rival's mother.
I'm telling you, it's rough out there tonight, okay? The political knives are out in Iowa. In that state where many prominent supporters of Hillary Clinton are openly challenging Bernie Sanders as an unelectable socialist, the heat on the Republican side is even more intense, and some of it's directed at the candidate who holds a dominant lead in the polls.
Our next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Even while one group of establishment Republicans are now uniting behind Donald Trump's presidential campaign, another group of conservative Republicans are blasting him. This week, the National Review, one of the leading intellectual conservative magazines in America, denounced Trump as an ego-driven amateur with no credentials to back up his talk about reducing government, calling him a menace who would take the work of generations and trample it underfoot in behalf of a populism as heedless and crude as the Donald himself. Nearly 24 big-name conservatives wrote essays to press the case, claiming Trump knows nothing about national security and his immigration proposal would actually allow more immigrants into the country. Trump's response?
People don't even think about the National Review, so I guess they want to get a little publicity, but no, that's a dying paper.
Trump's campaign went after his rival Ted Cruz, releasing this ad showing Cruz stumbling over his position on an immigration bill and his own amendment.
Sounded like you wanted the bill to pass.
Of course I wanted the bill to pass, my amendment to pass.
The Cruz fired back with its own ad portraying Trump as a heartless supporter of government muscle on eminent domain, dislodging private landowners for his own enrichment.
To bulldoze the home of an elderly widow for a limousine parking lot at his casino.
He doesn't have no heart, that man.
Trump won't change the system. He's what's wrong with it.
And then there's the Twitter battle between Jeb Bush and Trump, who ridiculed this Bush ad featuring his mother talking about him.
Jeb has been a very good father, a wonderful son.
About which Trump tweeted, "Just watched Jeb's ad where he desperately needed mommy to help him. Jeb, mom can't help you with ISIS, the Chinese, or with Putin." And Jeb responded with this tweet, showing Mrs. Bush with shoulder pads on, ready for football, and the line, "I'd be careful, Donald." The Democrats' Iowa battle wasn't quite so in your face, but the race is just as competitive, with some high-profile Hillary Clinton supporters highlighting Bernie Sanders' claim to be a Democratic socialist. Even this feel-good Sanders ad was criticized by some Clinton supporters who said the crowds appear to be all white. And with some recent polls showing Clinton sinking in Iowa, the focus for her in the crucial closing days of the campaign is college-age voters.
I don't think there's a woman more confident than Hillary Clinton.
With Sanders building Iowa momentum with college voters, Clinton visited 2 colleges this week, taking a selfie with Trey Logie at Simpson College. He plans to go door-to-door to campaign for her. He was asked about the college vote for Sanders by Nancy Cordes.
Why do you think so many college students here in Iowa are big fans of Bernie Sanders?
I think they see eye to eye with him and they think they're great ideas, but some people aren't as realistic as others.
Well, with the polls showing Sanders leading in New Hampshire, the pressure's on Clinton to pull out a win in Iowa, a state where, until recently, she was the clear leader. If she can't do that, she faces the possibility of losing the first 2 high-profile presidential campaign contests, and Jeff, Lena, that would not be good news for her.